Hey guys, it's Conf College Studios here, and in today's video I'm going to be addressing a question I have gotten a lot from a lot of you guys, and that is, what is Great Adventure gonna look like in the 2025 season? More specifically, what is this whole area over here gonna look like, where we just saw the massive purge of rides at the end of the 2024 season, ahead of the start of the 2025 season, including rides like Green Lantern, Parachute Tower coming down, Twister, King Ka, Zumanjaro, and that's just to name the ones in this area. We'll talk about the other ones later. But in this video, I'm going to be going over what I think the park boundaries are going to wind up looking like over here, how these areas are going to change as we prepare for the 2026 edition to come in, which we all know is going to be a massive coaster. I'm not going to be necessarily talking about what that coaster is, as much as I'm talking about what the areas are going to wind up looking like as we get ready for that coaster to come in, because obviously there's going to be a lot of change in these areas. Most of these areas were kind of built around these rides that are being removed, so there's going to be a lot of changes that happen with the layout of the park and the way these areas are set up. So we're going to start off by looking closely at the Golden Kingdom, and of course we are using Google Earth because I think this is the best way to visualize everything I'm talking about for this video. There are quite a few ways to get to the Golden Kingdom, or there were quite a few ways, I guess I should say. We obviously had the Ka-Toro pathway, which is not here on Google Earth. This is a bit of an older satellite image, but just imagine where I'm running my mouse cursor. That is pretty much where the Ka-Toro pathway was, or currently is. I don't know if it's still there. So that path obviously leads pretty much directly to King Ka Station. We know that everything with King Ka is more than likely demoed. We know the tower's coming down, all the track, everything, and I would assume that includes the station just because it is such a large station. It's very interwound with the ride itself. So given that knowledge, if I had to guess, we're probably not going to be able to walk anywhere over here towards King Ka itself. I'd say basically everything after the bathrooms as a bare minimum will be completely off limits to us during the 2025 season, just with all the construction, demolition going on. I mean, demolition should theoretically be done by the time the 2025 season starts. The tower itself is going to be imploded in the middle of February, and I imagine they're going to clean it up fairly quickly from there. So by the time we get to late March, I think everything will be basically cleaned up. So that leads to the question of what happens with the rest of the Golden Kingdom. So obviously everything up here where Ka's entrance is, Zumanjaro's entrance and massive queue, I'm going to assume that's all going to get ripped out, including Zumanjaro's queue. I really hope that means they leave Rolling Thunder alone as well, the little piece that's left under El Toro's Rolling Thunder Hill, because it is pretty close to that pathway, so hopefully they don't mess with that. But moving down here to the entrance to the Golden Kingdom on the Boardwalk, if I had to guess, this might sound a little strange, I think this will stay open. That way you can come back here and access the restrooms as well as the shop, and they do have that one little drink stand or snack stand right here as well, next to where the Splashwater Kid Play structure was. That is still there. And then of course you have the Wild Walkway, so I could see this kind of being like a little loop where you can go up the Wild Walkway, go to the bathroom, maybe go to the shop or whatever, then come back down. I just don't see them demoing all this because there's not really a reason to, and assuming they're going to do another jungle theme with the new coaster, I think personally that would make the most sense. They might as well keep the infrastructure they have, because this stuff is still in pretty good shape, and they can just refurbish it a little bit for when the new one comes in, and then tie directly into the new area. So that begs the question, what's this going to look like for Fright Fest? Because we obviously know that this whole area over here is used quite a bit for Fright Fest, where you see all of this right here. We now have a new building for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and all of this is kind of used as queue and entrance and everything. Plus, we have the trick-or-treat maze right here inside what used to be Fiesta Games, and that queue and entrance kind of went along the Ka-Toro pathway. So if I had to guess the way this is probably going to work, the reason why they're going to keep the bathrooms and merchandise location open if they wind up doing so is just to make the flow make more sense for Fright Fest, because theoretically, right, you would walk down this pathway and this is where the exit would be for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, at least that building. Then you'd come down and then go back into Plaza del Carnaval, and then the entrance for the same maze would be over here on the Wild Walkway, and then you'd go through here, come out, and I don't think, there's no mazes that exit over here anymore the way it works, unless they wind up rerouting it, because there used to be mazes that would exit right here where the split off is for Wild Walkway, because the queue was on the Wild Walkway for like Bloodshed, and then it would exit pretty much right next to Splashwater Oasis near this merchandise location. So we're going to see how that all pans out once we get towards Fright Fest. Obviously we are nowhere near that yet, we have quite a bit to go, but I would expect to see most of this area stay intact. I am curious what they wind up doing with the whole animal area. They still house animals back there, they just don't allow guests to walk back there anymore. I remember back in the day before they had the wild walkway open. The cut through between Toro and Ka, at least the best one we had, was to go through this animal enclosure where there was animals all over the place, and they had greeters in there explaining things to. Plus they still have the stage in here as well, so there's a lot they can work with over here. I am curious how much they keep, how much they refurbish. I highly doubt they're going to want to leave stuff here that's just going to sit unused, so they're either going to start using it again or just get rid of it, and I really don't know which route they're going to take quite yet. Hopefully they don't get rid of it, because there's a lot of really cool theming in here. Plus this is a lot of animals' homes. If they don't live here, they'll probably have to get relocated into the safari or something, or elsewhere in the park, so hopefully we'll see this area reused. But that's about it for the Golden Kingdom. Quite a large area, one of my favorite areas of the park, if not my favorite, and I really hope we see the theme stick for when the new coaster comes in, and wherever the coaster winds up being, whether the station's up here, over there, we really don't know where it's going to be quite yet, but we have a pretty good idea of what it's going to be, so hopefully Golden Kingdom stays relatively intact. Now moving over to the Boardwalk. It's a bit of an easier area to analyze since there's not really too much land going on here. It's pretty much just going to be these rides all on the right hand side being gone. So all that's going to be left in theory up here on the Boardwalk is Slingshot, the go-karts, and Superman, and that's it. So I had to imagine that a lot of this concrete over here where Lantern was, Parachutes was, probably going to be torn up for the most part. It's probably going to be a little messy down here during the 2025 season just because of all the attractions that got ripped out and for the fact that the replacement isn't coming till 2026. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we just wind up seeing like a large construction wall of some kind as you walk back to Superman. I still think it's pretty interesting that they decided to get rid of all of these rides, but then not Superman, because Superman is kind of like the furthest one out from everything in terms of its entrance and the station. It's way out here. Personally, I would have just gotten rid of Superman, but that's also because I don't like the ride very much. I know it has its fans. So I would just expect a nice big construction wall, pretty much running from where Twister was all the way back here to right by where Conjuring usually has its entrance, which also begs the question, how's Conjuring going to be routed since this is technically a construction site over here? If I had to guess, they're probably going to do it basically the exact same way they've done it in the past couple of years where it's been here, where they just have the queue routed through here, and you go through, because Superman, as far as we know, is not being touched in terms of demolition or changes or anything, so that'll probably all stay the same. But I'd imagine the construction wall that is more than likely going to appear here, probably going to be decorated fairly nicely, have some teasing for what's coming. I am curious how they're going to tie this whole area together, depending on what they do. Of course, we don't know exactly what's coming. We have a decent idea, but we don't know exactly what's coming. I'm wondering if maybe they're going to expand the Golden Kingdom into this plot where Lantern was, maybe put a new ride over here, maybe just completely redo the Boardwalk. That's what I really hope they do. Plus, we still have all of this real estate over here, which we don't really know the future of these three upcharge attractions plus the Right Stuff building. For all we know, they could all close in a very short amount of time. We don't know. If anything, I think the first one to close is going to be Daredevil Dive. We already see them getting rid of some of the sky coasters at other parks in the chain. Wonderland got rid of theirs, Cedar Point, etc., etc. Wouldn't be surprised if this one goes as well. And that's a massive plot of land right there behind a lot of the Boardwalk games, right next to Houdini, and that can connect it up very easily to the go-karts and up to Superman if you want to use this whole area. So that's getting into speculative territory. We don't want to go too far into that, but just an idea to ponder there. Now over here, this is my little flash rendering, kind of ignore this. When Cyborg does wind up getting ripped out, I imagine a lot of this is going to change up a little bit. I don't know if we're going to still have this path right here leading to where the entrance was supposed to be, because if I had to guess, they're not going to build this second queue house. They're just going to have the first one and then tie in with Cyborg's queue right here. And honestly, it would make perfect sense to just have the entrance where Cyborg's entrance was, since it is a much larger, grander spot. Right where Cyborg actually sits, you could probably put some nice plants or something, and then maybe use this path that was supposed to be the big entrance path as the exit for Flash, but we're going to have to watch as the construction continues for that ride. Moving over to the final ride that is being demolished for the year, Skyway. I imagine this station will probably be taken down relatively quickly, just so that there's not really any remnants of it. The towers will stay, if I had to guess. I don't really see them getting rid of them quite yet, because they probably have a lot of communication lines in them since they are fairly high up, so I wouldn't count on those being removed quite yet. And then the fort, I really hope they don't touch the fort. If anything, I'd love to see this turn into like a restaurant or something, but again, that's getting too far down the line of speculation. This whole big open area down here by Mine Train probably isn't going to change very much during the 2024 season. They kind of just left it be, and I imagine it'll probably stay like that for the time being. But with all that being said, that's going to do it for this video, kind of going over what to expect with the park boundaries, the layout, how all the pathing is going to change inside this area of the park and where the other rides that are being removed are because of these removals. There's going to be a lot of change happening in 2025, a lot of construction, demolition, all that fun stuff. I'm going to try to report on it as best as I can. So if you guys enjoyed this quick little prelude video trying to figure out what the park's going to look like, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, guys.